Okay, to talk about my favorite room, I can talk that bedroom is the thing I can't to miss up
Thank you for your
because
answer. Let's go.
because bedroom is the private area which I can do anything I want to unwind after hard working days, to watch video, to sleep and
Thank you for clarifying. Let's go over some feedback. Regarding fluency, I understood what you were saying, but there were a few pauses and repetitions. Try to link your ideas more smoothly. In terms of vocabulary, my personal sanctuary or unwind after a long day are good phrases. Grammar-wise, instead of I can talk that, you could say I'd have to say that my bedroom. Also, days should be singular after a hard-working day. Pronunciation was generally clear. So for that answer, I'd estimate around 5.5. A more natural version might be, I'd have to say my bedroom is my favourite room. It's my personal sanctuary where I can unwind after a long day, watch videos or just sleep. Now, let's move on to another question. Do you live in a house or an apartment?
now I stay in my house with my family. So it's not a big house, but I think it's very suitable for me because it have the cozy uh, cozy atmosphere and uh, enough size to live, and I think small house is easy to clean.
Thank you for your answer. Let's break it down. For fluency and coherence, there were quite a few pauses and repetitions, which disrupts the flow. Try to plan your sentences a bit more before you speak. Your vocabulary was generally alright. You used suitable and cozy correctly. Regarding grammar, instead of it's have, you should say it has, and small house needs an article, like a small house. Based on that, I'd estimate around 5.0. A corrected version might be, actually, I live with my family in a house. It's not a huge place, but it's very suitable for us, with a cozy atmosphere, enough space, and it's easy to keep clean. Let's try one more. Do you know any famous people in your area?
Yes, now I live in Hanoi, which is capital of Vietnam, and it means that in here we can meet many interesting figures. Uh, One of celebrities I know is Dương Đô Mix, which is uh, who is famous singer with many Chinese songs.
Thank you for that. Let's go over some feedback. In terms of fluency, again, there were quite a few pauses and repetitions, like in here we can, meet many. Try to speak more continuously. Vocabulary-wise, famous singer is a good collocation. For grammar, which is capital should be which is the capital. And instead of it's mean that, you might say this means that. Be careful with singular and plural too. Many trendy songs need the S. Pronunciation was clear, but just make sure to pronounce the final S on plurals. For this answer, I'd estimate around 5.0 again. A higher band response might be, yes, I currently live in Hanoi, which is the capital of Vietnam. Because it's a major city, you do run into a lot of well-known people. For example, I know the famous singer Dương Domic, who has many trendy songs. Let's try one more. Are there any things you don't like about your area?
Oh, to talk about the thing I don't like in my area, I can say that is a pollution, especially air pollution. You know, in Hanoi we have tons of a huge of um, personal vehicle. So it means that on the road they emit tons of carbon dioxide to the air environment.
Thank you for that. Let's break down the feedback. For fluency, there were quite a few pauses and moments of hesitation, which disrupts the flow. Try to think about forming slightly longer sentences continuously. In terms of vocabulary, air pollution and personal vehicle are good choices, but the air environment sounds unnatural. Maybe just say the atmosphere or the environment. Grammar-wise, instead of it have tons, remember it has tons. Also, emit is a far more natural verb here than emit. Finally, with pronunciation, make sure to pronounce the final S on plural nouns, like vehicles. Based on that, I'd estimate around 5.0. A corrected version might be, I'd have to say air pollution is the main drawback. As you know, Hanoi has tons of personal vehicles, and that means a lot of carbon dioxide is emitted into the environment. Now, let's move on. How much time do you spend studying every week?
Actually, I don't count my hours to study, but I think for my self-study, I use 1 or 2 hours per day to self-study, and I have to go to school to study, and I think it takes about 2 or 3 hours per day. It sounds too much, but I think I still don't have the grudge.
Thank you for that detailed answer. Let's break down the feedback. For fluency and coherence, you provided a lot of information, but there were several pauses and some repetition, which can affect the flow. Try to speak more continuously to improve that. In terms of vocabulary, self-study and manage my workload are good terms, but the phrase I count my hour is slightly unnatural. You could say keep track of my hours. Regarding grammar, instead of I still don't have the rich, you perhaps mean I still don't have the right result or I'm not satisfied with my progress. Also, make sure to pronounce the S on plurals like hours and studies. Pronunciation was clear, but just keep practicing those sounds. So I'd estimate around 4.5 for that answer. A more natural version might be, I don't really track my total study time, but I do about 1 or 2 hours of self-study per day. Then there's my classes at school, which take up another 2 or 3 hours per day. Even with all that, I feel like I'm not quite reaching my goals yet. Now, let's continue. Are there any changes in your area recently?
In Hanoi, I think the change recently I can see is government use AI to
Thank you for that. Let's go over some feedback. For fluency, your answer was interrupted by quite a long pause, making it seem like you were searching for the word. Try to practice flowing your ideas together more consistently. Regarding vocabulary, AI and government are fine, but you might say artificial intelligence or mention specific changes, like smart traffic systems. Grammar-wise, make sure to pronounce the S on changes, as you're asking for more than one. And consider phrasing things like the government uses AI in managing the city. Pronunciation was clear, just focus on those final sounds. Based on that, I'd estimate around 4.5 again. A more natural version might be, yes, I've noticed some changes. For example, the government in Hanoi is now using artificial intelligence for things like traffic management or smart city planning. We've covered quite a few topics now. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss, or shall we end the session there?
Wait a minute, I will give you more questions.
Of course, I'll wait for your questions. Let me know when you're ready to continue.
Yes.